What's poppin', YouTube? Back again. Happy Monday. We are going through my updated Dynasty rookie rankings based on an NFL mock that we're going to pull up on NFL.com from Charles Reuter. Without further ado, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps me out so much. Best way to give me a boost in the algorithm and to help out the channel. Best free way. And without further ado, let's get into it. So going through Reuter's mock, we have the Carolina Panthers taking CJ Stroud, Bryce Young to the Texans. The Colts trade up to 3 to grab Anthony Richardson. Clearly traded with the Cardinals. Keep going down. We then have Will Levis is falling. Will Levis falls to number 10 to the Minnesota Vikings, who apparently traded up with the Eagles. Houston Texans take Bijan Robinson. First time I've seen that in a while, of Bijan Robinson being taken by the Texans. JSN goes to 15 to the Packers. Let's keep going down, see what other players. Chargers take Jordan Addison. I've been seeing that all across the board. It would be great for Chargers with the connection with Justin Herbert. Kansas City Chiefs take Jalen Hyatt. Dallas Cowboys take Dalton Kincaid. Zay Flowers goes to Seattle Seahawks. Michael Mayer to the Bengals. Hendon Hooker to the Raiders. Round 2, we have Quentin Johnston falls to round 2 to the Houston Texans. Jahmyr Gibbs to the Philadelphia Eagles. We do love all of those selections as well. Luke Musgrave to the Washington Commanders. Any other? Cedric Tillman to the Jags. Do we have? I'm looking for a few more running backs, and then we can kind of get into our mock from here. Zach Charbonnet to the Tennessee Titans. Zach Evans to the Cleveland Browns. Really early there for Zach Evans. Chase Brown to the Arizona Cardinals. Marvin Mims to the Steelers. And that should be enough to get us into our actual mock. With the first player off the board, we'll be drafting Bijan Robinson. If he is landing there with the Houston Texans, he's getting paired up with Bryce Young. They are going to be a dynamic duo in the backfield. Don't need to harp. Bijan Robinson is the 101. My 102 is going to be CJ Stroud. He is my QB1 in the class. And of course, if he goes number 1 overall, you're just going to have to take the draft capital. Now, we don't love the receivers. We're going to be interested to see how the Carolina Panthers would be able to build around whichever rookie quarterback they take. But CJ Stroud would be my pick here at 102. At 103, we will be selecting Bryce Young. Bryce Young goes to the Houston Texans, getting paired up then in the backfield with Bijan Robinson. You also have them signing Robert Woods. We'll see if they added Quentin Johnston in the second round. Bryce Young, even with the height concerns, you do have to take that upside shot. And he's going right now in the middle of second rounds of startup drafts. So he does have a quick way that he could shoot into the back end of the first round, especially if he has a great rookie year and those size concerns are proven wrong in the NFL. At 104, we are going to take Anthony Richardson. I know him falling to pick 11 to the Tennessee Titans is not great in this NFL mock, but I imagine he goes top 5, if not top 10. And all we care about is a top 10 quarterback. That's like, if he falls to pick 11, I will still draft him based on the metrics, based on the upside. But top 10 picks would be most ideal for Anthony Richardson. We saw what he did at the NFL Combine, like best quarterback athlete we've ever seen. Now, how is that going to stack up to the measurables on the field? We do not know. But he has the highest upside out of any quarterback in the draft. And if you're drafting in the top 5, it's because you did not make the fantasy football playoffs in your dynasty league. You need a stud, and Anthony Richardson has the potential to get that for you. At my 105, this is where I will be taking JSN. I think the advantage to taking a player like JSN, the dynasty community already loves him. He goes to the Packers at 15, even if Aaron Rodgers is traded, which is assuming he will be getting the ball thrown to him by Jordan Love. Christian Watson and JSN in the wide receiver court feels really great. I just feel like he's a safer pick than maybe Will Levis. I'm a huge Will Levis fanboy. I just think at this point, the dynasty community has already written off Will Levis, that it's going to take Will Levis becoming Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes to even sniff the first round of a dynasty startup. JSN, while I don't think he has maybe wide receiver 1 or 2 in his range of outcomes, I do think he can be a top 5 to 10 dynasty wide receiver. And that is perfectly fine to be getting that at 105. You're going to be feeling great about that at 105. At 16, this is where I will be taking and biting the bullet and taking Will Levis. If he does go number 4 to the Indianapolis Colts, the Colts, as much as we hate to say that their quarterback play has been atrocious the last few years between Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers the year before, they do have a very solid offensive line. Even though last year they had some injuries that caused the offensive line to be a little shaky. They do have Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, Michael Pittman on the outside. And especially if they are able to address maybe grabbing another wide receiver, I could see the Indianapolis Colts situation being very attractive, and getting Will Levis a top 10 quarterback at the 106 in Dynasty Superflex Rookie Draft. You have to do it. You have to do it each and every day of the week. At the 107, Jahmyr Gibbs goes to the Philadelphia Eagles. Assuming Jahmyr Gibbs and not Bijan Robinson goes to the Eagles, you can easily see how the Philadelphia Eagles, even over the last few years, have been a running back by committee. So Jahmyr Gibbs instantly gets thrust into, I would say, molded Boston Scott type of role with the Philadelphia Eagles. There's not going to be a ton of goal line work because Jalen Hurts takes up most of the goal line work. If he does go to the Eagles, all wheels up for Jahmyr Gibbs. He's going to be a top 7, top 8 dynasty running back, especially in my rankings. He would be, especially if he gets that early second draft capital, top 50 picks. That's what we're looking for with Jahmyr Gibbs. Getting him at the 107, you feel absolutely great about it. I'd be ecstatic. At 108, this is where the tier break kind of happens for me. Between the 105 to the 107 would be a tier. And then, so if you were at 108 here, and this is kind of how the draft laid out, I would be trying to trade up into the top 7 picks. But if you weren't going to be able to do it, I would be taking Jordan Addison. He lands with the Chargers, lands with Justin Herbert. The only things that really concern me about Jordan Addison, of course, size. When he gets pressed up in man coverage at the line of scrimmage, he does not have a great way of having elite level speed, and or he does have great route running, but he does get jammed up a little bit. And since he's not electric fast and he's also not like super big or strong, kind of throws him off put a little bit. But if Jordan Addison is the wide receiver 2 on the Chargers, getting the ball thrown by Justin Herbert, getting him at the 1-8 is an absolute smash. And I would not be doubting or denying anybody that would prefer to take Jordan Addison maybe ahead of Gibbs if you thought that he did have that upside. But I would not be doing it because Jordan Addison is my clear wide receiver 2 in this class. But I did really like the landing spot of him on the Chargers. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting because like most people all offseason have been talking about Quentin Johnson, but he falls into round 2 with the Houston Texans. So we're going to be taking Zay Flowers. I think Zay has taken that leap to be the wide receiver 3 for me. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he played at Boston College and he didn't play against elite level athleticism all the time. He was just a superior athlete. But when you get a wide receiver that's being taken in that first round that you really like to the Seattle Seahawks, that would be something that I would be willing to bet on compared to someone like a Quentin Johnson if it was really down to it. You saw exactly what Tyler Lockett has been for the Seattle Seahawks. So there's no reason for me to believe that Zay Flowers won't be able to produce that same type of in-game results and also fantasy points once maybe he develops just a little bit more. At the 110, this is as far as I will let Quentin Johnston fall. Getting to be paired up with Bryce Young on the Houston Texans, of course, with Bijan Robinson too. That would be an electric. I mean, if you were a Houston Texans fan, that would probably be the most ideal scenario. Getting a wide receiver that could potentially become the alpha, getting a stud running back, and getting hopefully the franchise quarterback. I'm just nervous a little bit about the metrics. He's not as tall as we thought with him being 6'2". His burst and agility were not as great at the combine as we may have thought as well. I've always been concerned because he does do a lot of body catching. That's definitely something that could be fixed. And by developing in the NFL, he could become that alpha wide receiver that we're looking for. I'm just not willing to bet on Quentin Johnston over someone like Zay Flowers, especially with the way that the NFL is transitioning into more elite level route running and being more quick off the ball. And so Quentin Johnston falling to the 110 though, that would be meaning that you are a contender that got a late round pick or you traded for a late round pick. Getting Quentin Johnston at the 110 feels great in any type of draft class. But this, I think listening to a lot of analysts and dynasty analysts say, oh, this is maybe not as great as a class as you may have thought. Getting Quentin Johnston at the 110 definitely feels great. And this would be another tier for me. At the 111 is where things do type to get interesting. I don't love Jalen Hyatt, but I think I would take Jalen Hyatt at the 111. Only reason is he's getting paired to the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. Now, everyone would start comparing him to Tyreek Hill. He already kind of had those comparisons. Now, he did run the 4.40. We were hoping for the 4.3 at the NFL Draft Combine, but just kind of like Sky Moore last year. Sky Moore was like the 110, 111, and then all of a sudden got pushed up into like the 106 to 108 range last year in Dynasty Superflex Mock Drafts. The same thing will happen to Jalen Hyatt. Where Jalen Hyatt right now, in any mock draft that I've done recently, has been going around the 202 to the 203. The moment he gets landed on the Kansas City Chiefs and he's the first round selection, this man, his ADP will climb. I would actually not be surprised if Jalen Hyatt then would, if this were to be the scenario, Jalen Hyatt would then climb like right ahead of Zay Flowers. I could see people convincing themselves, oh, he's tied to Patrick Mahomes. Oh, he's tied to Andy Reid. This offense is going to be amazing. But we saw last year, it really did not matter who was catching the ball for Patrick Mahomes. He's elite. Unless you become an absolute stud like Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill, they're not going to funnel you the ball because they have so many different playmakers across the board. So Jalen Hyatt at the 111 feels great, the landing spot, but I would be nervous about him climbing even higher. But I would not be taking him above these other guys. And at the 112 is where I will be taking Zach Charbonnet. I know a lot of people have Zach Charbonnet ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs. If you're ever on Dynasty Twitter or on Twitter at all, you're going to see all the arguments being had right now of everyone with their different running back rankings. Of course, everyone has Bijan first, but at second, third, fourth, fifth, people are all across the board. Some people hate Jahmyr Gibbs because he's 199 pounds. He didn't cross that 200 thresh mark, even though he ran a 4.3 40 and had really great production profile at Georgia Tech and Alabama. Some people have Zach Charbonnet ahead of him just because of size, that you can say, oh, he's going to be a bell cow running back, even though the NFL is transitioning to there's no such thing as a bell cow anymore unless you're an absolute dog that Bijan Robinson's going to be. So I'm taking Zach Charbonnet. I'm taking the risk here at the 112. You probably just won the chip and or traded for the pick, and getting a running back that could potentially be the RB2 in the class at the 112 feels great. So Zach Charbonnet landed at the Tennessee Titans in round 3, pick 72. So Zach Charbonnet was drafted, of course, probably to be the replacement to Derrick Henry. Now we know how Mike Vrabel likes to use his running backs. Will Zach Charbonnet turn into Derrick Henry? I do not know, because to be truthful, Zach Charbonnet did not beat out Hassan Haskins on Michigan, had to transfer away to UCLA. And we saw what Hassan Haskins did this last year for the Tennessee Titans when Derrick Henry is out. But if he is getting drafted in the 3rd round draft capital, we're going to feel pretty good about that landing spot there for Zach Charbonnet. I couldn't take any of the tight ends over him. The tight ends, this class of tight ends are so deep. I would just wait until the 2nd round, punt, see who falls to you, and take as many shots as you can if that's what you need for tight ends. But the 1st round, I'm not drafting tight end. Even if Michael Mayer gets drafted to the Bengals, the dream spot, I think, for Michael Mayer, I'm still going to push him off into the 2nd round. So like I said, if you stayed for this whole video, appreciate you so much. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back later this week. I'm going to be bringing on my friend Jordan. We're going to actually me and him do our own rookie mock draft, as well as putting out some more videos this week. So I appreciate you guys so much, and have a great one.